Once upon a time in ancient Greece, there was a man called Byzas. Byzas was the son of Nisos, the king of Megara, a city in Greece. "My son," said King Nisos one day, "it is time for you to go out and make your way in the world. Find your own land and build a city there." "I will make you happy, father," said Byzas. So Byzas went out with his men and looked for land. But wherever they looked, there were problems. In the first place, there were thieves, men who stole from travelers. In the next place, there was bad weather, baking sun and ice-cold rain, that meant they could not plant food. In the third place, there were monsters that ate children alive. "I need help," said Byzas. "We have traveled for months and months, and we have found no place to build a city." So Byzas traveled to Delphi. There was the oracle of Apollo. The oracle of Apollo was a woman who spoke with the god Apollo and saw the future. She gave advice to men from all over Greece, and her advice was always good. But if you did not follow her advice well, or if you did not respect the gods, you could end up worse than before. Still, Byzas had to go, because he had no other ideas. "Oh, great oracle of Apollo! I have come all the way from Megara to speak to you. My father, King Nisos, has told me to go out and build a city. But wherever I go, there are thieves, bad weather and monsters. Please tell me, where should I go to build my city?" The oracle closed her eyes and said nothing for several minutes. Byzas worried that he had said something wrong. But finally, she opened her eyes and spoke. "I have asked Apollo what to do. The message is clear: you will build your city on the land opposite to the land of the blind." Byzas left Delphi confused. He did not understand the oracle's message. The land of the blind. What did it mean? He asked his men, and they gave him many ideas. One said that it might mean window blinds, a kind of curtain. But that was too easy. Another said that it might mean a foreign land. But why would Apollo want Byzas to build his city in a foreign land? For months, Byzas and his men traveled around, looking for the land of the blind. Everywhere they went, they asked people about it. But nobody knew where it could be. One day, they came to the Bosporus, a strait. They took their ship to Chalcedon, a city on one side of the strait, and rested there. It was a horrible place. The streets were dirty and full of thieves and drunk people. That night, Byzas drank and drank and drank. He felt hopeless, because he had no idea where the land of the blind was. He could not go home to his father empty-handed, and he did not know what to do. The next day, feeling hungover and sad, he walked up a big hill on the side of the city. From the top of the hill, he could look out over all the houses and across the strait to the other side. Byzas gasped. How can it be? On the other side of the strait, opposite Chalcedon, was a magical land. The land was green, with many beautiful flowers and trees holding beautiful fruit. Wild sheep, pigs, cows and horses walked around, fat and healthy. There were rivers and lakes with beautiful clear water. How can these people live in Chalcedon, when such a magical land sits opposite them? They must be blind. Suddenly, Byzas remembered the words of the oracle of Apollo, "You will build your city on the land opposite to the land of the blind." Byzas started laughing. I've found it. I've finally found it. He ran down the hill and shouted to his men, "Get on the ship. We are crossing the strait." The men, confused, did what he said. When they arrived at the magical land, they laughed and cheered. There, Byzas built the city of Byzantium. It was a place of riches and magic. Over the years, the city grew in size and importance. Today, it is called Istanbul, which means towards the city. Because men from all around the world come there still.
Once, there was a boy called Francis who lived with his father. His mother had died when he was young, and for many years, his father was very sad. When his mother was alive, every weekend one of them made pancakes for Francis. For many years after she died, Francis's dad never made pancakes, but one day, he woke up and said, "Francis, would you like pancakes for breakfast?" After that day, Francis's father made pancakes every day. He fell in love with pancakes. Francis was happy at first, because he loved pancakes and he loved watching his father flip them. Francis's father would buy bigger and bigger frying pans, and make bigger and bigger pancakes. Soon, he made giant pancakes, bigger than pizzas. He held the frying pan with both hands and said, "Ready?" Francis would say, "Yes, Dad," and then his dad would flip the pancake. The pancakes were so big that when he flipped them, they made a whooshing sound. It was like an aeroplane flying through the room. It was magic. But soon, it was too much. Every morning, Francis came downstairs and found a mountain of giant pancakes on his plate. They were so big that he could only eat one. His dad put the rest in a box for Francis to take to school, but he was sick of pancakes. They had pancakes for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So he gave the pancakes to his friends, and took their sandwiches and apples. His friends loved the pancakes, so Francis had an idea. "Dad, why don't you sell your pancakes?" Francis's dad looked afraid for a moment. "Oh no," thought Francis. "He thinks the pancakes are what connect us with Mom." "But Francis," said Dad, "the pancakes are what connect us with your mother. We can't share them with other people." Francis spoke carefully. "Don't you think Mom would want us to share them? She loved sharing food with people." Francis's dad started to cry. "Oh, Francis, you're right." So he ran a little shop outside their house and started selling pancakes. At first, he only ran the shop after work or on the weekend. But soon, his pancakes became very popular, and everyone started talking about the Pancake Man. His shop became so popular that he left his job and only worked at the pancake shop. Francis was very happy. Because his dad sold all the pancakes, he gave Francis money to buy different food. Finally, Francis could have pizza and pies and vegetables. He ate carrots until he was sick of them. Francis's dad was also very happy. Everyone loved watching him flip the giant pancakes, and they always clapped afterwards. Years later, everyone in the city knew about the Pancake Man, and they opened up a restaurant in town. While Francis's father flipped pancakes and ran the restaurant, Francis worked hard at school. He was very interested in space, and wanted to be an astronaut when he grew up. His father was so busy with the pancake business that he didn't see him very much. Francis finished school, and went to university to study astrophysics. He wanted to go to a good university, far away from home, but his dad wanted him near. So he went to the university in their city. It wasn't so good, but if he worked hard, he thought he could still go to space. But one day, Francis's father had a horrible accident. One of the giant frying pans in the restaurant fell and hit him on the head. He went to hospital, and the doctors said he didn't have long to live. Francis stayed by his father's side day and night. He couldn't believe it. His mother had died in a car accident. Wasn't that enough? Why did his father have to go at such a young age as well? "Francis," he said, "after I go, I want you to run the restaurant. Become the pancake man. It's what your mother would have wanted." Francis felt sick. He didn't want to run the restaurant. And he didn't think his mother would want him to. But this was what connected him to his father. If he didn't do it, he would feel terrible. "Okay, Dad. I'll do it." His dad died in the night, and Francis went to work. If he worked hard, he would feel less alone. But he quickly saw that there was a problem. He knew how to cook pancakes well, but the giant frying pans were too heavy for him. His father had grown strong from all the pancake flipping, but nobody else in the restaurant could do it. When Francis tried flipping the giant frying pan, the pancake didn't even go in the air. So Francis started lifting weights. He took the sadness from his father's death and used it to grow strong. He lifted weights for hours every day. His arms grew until they looked like trees. And then he lifted more weights. During this time, Francis couldn't sleep. When he wasn't lifting weights, he was studying for his astrophysics course. When he did sleep, he had strange dreams. He was flying through space, and he saw his mother. Or was it a star? He flew towards the star, but he never got there, and when he woke up he was crying. A few months later, Francis went back to the restaurant. All of the staff came and watched. He held the giant frying pan with both hands and waited for the right moment. Everyone held their breath. Then he flipped the pancake. Francis was too strong. He was too sad, too tired. When he flipped the pancake, there was a kablum. The pancake flew up and hit the ceiling. But it didn't stop there. It broke through the ceiling and kept going. It broke through the roof. Everyone ran outside to watch. Francis was still holding the frying pan. The pancake had flown out of the building and into the air. And it still didn't stop. It flew higher and higher, until it went through the clouds. On the news that night, they talked about the pancake. It had flown into space. An astronaut saw it, and quickly moved so that it didn't hit her. The pancake kept flying through space, until it was too far away and nobody could see it. Francis watched the news but said nothing. He was alone in his house. His mother's house. His father's house. He ate 5 carrots for dinner and went to bed. The next morning, Francis knew what to do. He went to the restaurant, took the giant frying pan and went to his father's grave. He put the frying pan on the grave. "Dad, I love you. Every time I eat a pancake, I'll feel connected to you. But Mom is calling me. She needs me, too." Because Francis knew. He had watched the pancake flying into space. That was where he had to go. He had to follow his mother's star. Francis put some flowers on the grave and then went home. He had some studying to do.